welcome back to the Constitutionals Podcast. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the premier podcast for the website cpluscomedy.com. Like I just said, it's a website. Go there! Episode 313. I'm playing with the focus of the camera over here. Oh, look at that. Look at that. See if it can quickly focus on my hands and then focus back on me? Oh my God. I can feel the heat from the ring light too. That's insane. Is that healthy? Because I've been sitting here for like 2 hours, hour and a half. Welcome back in. I'll just go ahead and say this. I recorded an interview about exactly an hour ago. And then immediately I did Late Night Lately. And then I got up from this chair and I went over to my closet. My bedroom's like 2 walls away. No big deal. I went to my bedroom, went to my closet, grabbed a shirt, changed, and sat right back down. Episode 313. Here we are. I did not go see a movie today. I was busy, and then I could not. There's a point where I was volunteering, and there was a point where I was leaving. I was finished volunteering. I was driving back in traffic, and I was like, I'm back and go see a movie before this interview. And then I looked up movie times, and I wanted to see Piece by Piece. The movie started 40 minutes prior, and I went, damn, that means it was like 20 minutes in, at least. And I was right by the theater, and I also had groceries in my car. That's right, I went grocery shopping. And then I did some volunteer work for like 2 hours. And with groceries sitting in a bag, a cold bag that does not zip. So it was sitting in an insulated bag, does not zip. Because and it's fine to do that. I did intentionally buy some frozen products so that I could lay them across, because I don't care if those get ruined, but I just lay them across the fresh stuff. But it's okay for things to get to room temperature. Once it's at room temperature, you have 2 hours until bacteria starts growing. And they weren't at room temperature. By the time I pulled out the stuff that was needed to be cold, those were basically just sitting at refrigerator temperature. The frozen things I pulled out, I was like, oh no, it's warm. But it's also cold here in Atlanta. Episode 313. What else is going on? I'm still continuing my march to horror movies. I was going to say march to Sherman's March to the Sea. I was going to make a reference to that, but I'm too tired. I'm watching a horror movie a day. I'm 19 days in because I started September 30th. These movies aren't good. In fact, a lot of the movies are from the past year, which is insane. Then that was not intentional. That was something that was not intentional. At first, I watched A Quiet Place Day 1, and then I watched, I believe, Bodies, and then after that it was Night Shift, and I went, these are all from like the last year, and then these are all from like the last couple of, well, yeah, because Bodies is still here. So these are all from last year, and then I just continued on. Eventually, I almost ran out of stuff, to where I had to go back to 2022. So far, I believe the oldest movie might be Fantasy Island, which is technically a horror movie. Last night I watched Wendell and Wild, and I was just so bored during it. I mean, they made the movie, but why? There's also a movie on here I've always wanted to see, Antlers. I didn't see it in theaters, and then I had it on my list for like a year on Paramount Plus, and then it left Paramount Plus like a month ago, and I was like, dang, I'm never going to see Antlers. Or it left a couple of months ago, and then it was playing on FX, and I was like, let me record it. I recorded it on YouTube TV, and I went, I'm not going to watch a recorded version of a movie. And then finally, it was available on, I think, Netflix or Prime or Hulu, one of those, and then I just said, I'm just going to knock it out and watch it. I think the worst one out of the entire list so far. Here's my list so far. Night Shift, A Quiet Place Day 1, Bodies, The Boogeyman, The Watchers. The Watchers shouldn't be included, but whatever. Oh, I fell asleep during that the first time I tried to watch it. And I think the rule is if I fell asleep within the first 30 minutes, if I had a majority of the movie left, I had to restart. The Watchers, Imaginary, The Blackening, It's What's Inside, The First Omen, which did not have any people. Oh, I had one person of color in it. Salem's Lot, which was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. Cobwebs. Which one was Cobwebs? Is that the one with the woman, the girl on the wall? I Saw the TV Glow. Fantasy Island. Texas Chainsaw Massacre reboot on Netflix. Sting, Antlers, Dash Cam, and Wendell Wild. Of all the movies I did not like, Dash Cam the most. I watched that on Wednesday because I only had an hour and a half, and I put it on. And the main character is insufferable, and it was made during the pandemic. Strike one. Main character is insufferable. Strike two. For reasons that when you watch the first 2 minutes, made during the pandemic. She's an anti-masker, so automatically I went. This is not gonna be a movie I enjoy. And that was just the character. I don't think the person who made the movie is like that because she's the writer and she's not the director, but she's the writer for the movie and she acts in it. But it was just oh my god, it was so bad. And I try to find I like the Transformers movies, you know. I try to find something that I can grab onto and go, you know what, this part and this part, I like this part, I like this part. But all throughout Dashcam, I'm just going, oh god. That movie is 79 minutes long. I watched it on Hulu. It's like 79 minutes long, and then there's there's 11 minutes of credits, and she's rapping the credits, which I think is fun. I think it's a fun bit, but she sucks. Not sucks at rapping. She sucks as a character. And that's been on my list for 2 years, I believe. And I said, great, let me knock this 79-minute thing out. So I have 12, it's the 18th. So I have today until the 31st. And some of the times, like a lot of the times, movies like A Quiet Place Day One, Night Shift, The Boogeyman, Imaginary, I'm watching those during the week. I'm deliberately choosing during the week at 7:30 or 8 o'clock so I can close the blinds and turn off all the lights and get some snacks. Post dinner, I've already stretched. Sometimes I'm planning my workout for the next day. Very true. iPad is sitting on my lap and I'm just typing away. I have the Steam Deck next to me. Turn on the Xbox so that I could earn a quick achievement really quick, so I can earn some points for Microsoft Bing rewards, whatever it is called. But I'm mostly in it. But then a lot of these other movies, The Blackening, and this is not based on their quality. It's just based on what type of movie they are. The Blackening is a comedy that has horror elements. It's a horror comedy. Fantasy Island, I knew that wasn't going to be something I completely enjoyed. But those were weekend shows. Fantasy Island in particular, I watched Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. And I'm working out. I'm on the bike, cycling, have a Peloton class, and I have this movie on. It's not indicative of good or bad. It's just how I wanted to view that movie. That's what I should have done with Cobwebs. Jesus. I have issues with Cobwebs. When you see a movie, and I'll move on to the stories in a second, but when you see a movie, the stars of the movie, and they are, I think you can be too big to be a star. You can be too big of a star to be in a horror movie. Because the entire time I was going, in Cobwebs, I go, that's Lizzie Kaplan. And then I'm like, that's Anthony Starr. I'm not saying they did a bad job. I'm just saying I can't take him seriously because I've seen those people in other roles. What was it? Antlers had Jesse Tyler. No, not Jesse Tyler Ferguson. Hold on. Now I got to look this up. Antlers had two people that I was just like, oh, they're too big. Too big to be in this movie. Not to be in this movie, but Kerry Russell and Jesse Plemons, the entire time I'm going, that's Kerry Russell. She's doing a good job too. And Jesse Plemons did a great job. Oh my God. There's one scene in the movie, like 1 second, like a 10-second shot that I went, this is why Jesse Plemons is getting hired for all this stuff. Where Kerry Russell's character, they were abused by their, or it's heavily, like, it's shown that she was abused by their father. And then she goes, you don't know what he did to me. And then he's like, he may not have done anything to you. And Jesse Plemons goes, oh, no. You don't know what he did to me. I'm just not talking about it. And it hangs on his face for like 5 seconds. And he grimaces. And it is like, oh, that's the scariest thing in that movie. Oh my God. Jesse Plemons, like, oh man, oh my goodness. Like, oh man. Just thinking about it gives me the heebie-jeebies. All right, let's move on. Let's get to this first story. This comes from there's like 4 stories, and one of them I just found, like, how long is this episode right now? 11 minutes ago. This comes from Jim Aswad of Variety. I squinted like I couldn't see. Oh, what is that thing? Inside TikTok's money squeeze on independent labels, this is a classic divide and conquer situation. We know that TikTok has gotten rid of its money, TikTok music app. So it's no longer competing technically with the likes of Apple Music or Spotify or YouTube Music and the rest. However, music discovery is still gigantic on TikTok. You can be Chapel Roan one day and have been making music for years, and then suddenly you pop, you blow up because your song is being shared around the world. I don't know if that's how Chapel Roan happened, but she was putting out music before she was the big star she is now. That was a good analogy. Good job, Chad. But TikTok and Universal Music Group, we know that they had licensing issues earlier this year. UMG faced challenges making its case in the court of public opinion. They had some good notes and ideas and points. But UMG was saying that they were being squeezed for money when TikTok has all the money, but UMG also had big earnings. Their boss, the big guy, UMG chairman, CEO Lucian Grange, had a $150 million bonus. And apparently they were silencing their artists and songwriters because they weren't going viral on TikTok. They banned their music. They just didn't have Harry Styles, Taylor Swift, all this stuff on TikTok. But what about the people who are smaller? What about the people who aren't Elton John or Taylor Swift? Those people were affected as well. And how do you promote, if you're a smaller artist with UMG or just any indie label out there? What happens when, like, how do you get your music out there? Well, you go to TikTok, you go to Instagram, you go to YouTube. You say, that's how you make your living, because that's the way we do it now. 4 months later, Universal's stance seems to be a lot more urgent because now TikTok is putting the squeeze on a much more vulnerable target, independent labels. Apparently, with no advance notice, TikTok announced that it is ending its deal with Merlin, the 500-plus member nonprofit independent label trade group that was created to place indies on more equal footing with the majors, and instead will negotiate with each label individually. So what that is saying is, there's let's say Ziff Davis. Ziff Davis is the company that owns IGN, and I believe what other websites? I have to click through Ziff Davis. Why did I choose Ziff Davis? I mean this with my entire heart. Why did I choose Ziff Davis? So Ziff Davis owns Humble. They own Eurogamer. They own IGN. On the technology side, they own CNET. They own Mashable. They own Lifehacker. On the shopping side, they own Retail Me Not. They own Offers.com. Imagine if Google was like, we're not going to do ads with Ziff Davis anymore. We're only going to do ads individually with IGN, with Offers.com, with Humble, with GameIndustry.biz. So like what if that happened? So that's what's happening with this Merlin situation. While TikTok claims that the move is not that this move is due to what it describes as rampant fraud, quote unquote, that Merlin has been unsuccessful in combating. Multiple sources scoff at the characterization and say that the platform is using a divide and conquer strategy to break Merlin's collective power. Because Merlin is a nonprofit collective with these 500 entities, they're saying that TikTok is trying to argue that, hey, this isn't fair for us because we're being squeezed for all this money for all these indie artists who aren't exactly worth, in quotes, worth as much as you're asking for in the collective. So individually, we should be able to pay them what we think we should pay them. It's the same idea of not the same idea. It's not the same idea, but let's just look at this in the general idea of when colleges went. Okay, let's just say this. I'm a basketball superstar. I'm LeBron James. I'm not getting paid the same as Luka. And Luka's not getting paid the same as Kyrie. Kyrie's not getting paid the same as Stephen. Like all those guys are making a lot of money, but they're not making the same amount because they all have different skill sets and different teams that allow them to be paid however much. Townsend's not going to be paid the same as Luka. I couldn't think of a smaller person. Bronny is not going to be paid the same as his dad. There was a letter sent to members from Merlin this week that said, quote, in part, we believe the most likely reason that TikTok did this is that TikTok does not want to pay a fair rate for the music that powers their platform. If this is right, then TikTok does not value independent music, the independent labels and distributors who support that music, nor the diverse artists who create it. Their approach suggests that they believe their objectives can be better served by fragmenting the Merlin membership in order, we believe, to minimize their payout, which is true. I mean, that is exactly, when you look at it from that end, that's exactly what it sounds like and what it truly feels like, where they can go, okay, we can give Phoebe Bridgers more money because compared to Mitski, because she has a different demographic, or Shabuzi compared to, I don't know, Lucy Dacus. I immediately went to a bandmate of Phoebe Bridgers. They're bandmates, you know. They're individual artists, but they come together to make Boy Genius. I've seen Lucy twice. I've seen Phoebe once. I've never seen the other one, Juliet Baker. Music is a smarmy business, and decisions like these affect everybody. You know, like, again, when UMG, I bet Taylor Swift and Harry Styles and Elton John, they probably make more money from TikTok than they did from Spotify. And they definitely get more eyes from TikTok than they do from YouTube at this point. And it's kind of like if Lex Luthor stole from the Joker, or if Joker stole from Lex Luthor. I mean, yeah, they're two bad guys, but one of them is making out like a bandit while the other one is left holding the bag. There needs to be some sort, whatever fraud, whether it be scaling listens, when like having bots do listens and everything, or what have you. That needs to be that is a real concern, but there also needs to be the idea that there are smaller people who are getting hurt in these situations. Anyway, there's more to the story, and I don't have time to go over it. This next one comes from NPR, written by Alina Selyuk. Canceling subscriptions has to be as easy as signing up, the FTC says in a new rule. The Federal Trade Commission this week said, hey, final rule on Wednesday. It's called Click to Cancel, which says online subscriptions should require the same number of clicks to end as they do to sign up, and in-person signups should have an option to cancel online or over the phone. This is a big deal because things like Prime, Amazon Prime, it's like 4 to 5 clicks to pause or cancel. And you often when I'm pausing, I often get, or canceling, I often get the pause before the cancel, and I get the pause like twice. Same, like it just happened with Audible this week. I had to cancel Audible, and all of a sudden, they're like, "Hey, we have 2 credits for you. How about 2 credits at half price?" I'm like, "No, I don't want it. I don't want Audible right now." The same thing goes for Humble Bundle. Not Humble Bundle. Humble Choice, monthly choice. You go, you can't just stop the subscription. You have to. It goes. Are you sure you want to do this? What about pausing it? Huh? Okay. Well, what if you don't cancel? What if we give it to you half price? Okay, but what if? Hear me out. It's just like a lot of waiting, and thankfully the FTC is going to get to enforcing a rule where it says if it takes 2 clicks to sign up, it's gonna take 2 clicks to cancel. It's going to require retailers, gyms, and other businesses to make canceling subscriptions as easy as enrolling in them, and to make the subscription process more transparent. It is actually called Click to Cancel. You can go to the Federal Trade Commission website, and it's a real deal name. I like it. I think it's a great idea. Make it easy for these people to leave. This next one comes from The Verge, written by Emma Roth. This is the story that I just found, even though it's from a couple weeks ago. Ubisoft responds to rumors about Tencent's potential buyout. Ubisoft has been having troubles as of late. They're along with their Assassin's Creed games that haven't been doing exactly well. And a lot of their, actually, you know what? I want to see what the last couple of games. Ubisoft. I got to go to Wikipedia, and I want to see what their last couple of games that they released are. There's that Star Trek one. Whoa, there's a strike for Ubisoft. Interesting. There's that Star Trek, Star Wars, whatever. Who cares? There's a Star Trek game that just came. Star Trek. There's a Star Wars game that just came out. And it is called, where is it? Why is this all 2025 stuff? Why am I not saying Star Wars? Star Wars Outland? Is that what it's called? Outlaws. They also have Assassin's Creed Shadows coming out. X-Defiant I don't know what that is. But they haven't been doing too well. Avatar Frontiers of Pandora came out and had middling sales, I believe. I don't know. I don't really follow sales. Skull and Bones is something that people definitely don't talk about anymore. Riders of the Republic. Assassin's Creed Mirage came and went. They put out the Crew Motorfest, but then, they took off the Crew 1. They took that offline. Beyond Good and Evil 20th Anniversary Edition just felt like a reskin. All these games, X-Defiant has been out since May 21st. I don't know what that game is. I assume it's an online shooter game. I don't know what that is. They have Tom Clancy games coming on mobile. What in the world? And other games, a Splinter Cell remake and another Assassin's Creed game on mobile. They're releasing Assassin's Creed games on iOS products, but they're not doing well, especially with Star Wars Outlaws. I felt like that was like kind of the last straw with people, where they have this big IP and it comes out and the game is just broken and messy and boring and not fun for a lot of people. And I can say that because I beat Star Wars Jedi Knight Order Fallen Man, the second Star Wars Jedi Knight game. I don't know what that is. I beat that a couple weeks ago and I had issues, to say the least. But Ubisoft is having money troubles. I believe they had some layoffs, and apparently an early report from Bloomberg said the Chinese gaming giant Tencent and the Guillemot family, who founded Ubisoft, are looking into ways to, quote, stabilize Ubisoft and bolster its value. Shares of the company plunged 19% last month, following news that it's delaying the launch of Assassin's Creed Shadows and reported lower than expected Star Wars Outlaws sales. One of the options Ubisoft is considering is taking the company private, according to Bloomberg. Tencent, which currently has about a 10% stake in Ubisoft, also owns 49.9% of Guillemot Brothers Limited. Ubisoft says it's currently focused on open world and live service games. It's again, I've said this before. I've said it so many times. Making video games is so hard, and you don't know if it's going to be a good game when it comes out. I mean, look at the release of this Until Dawn remake. Until Dawn, when it came out, in 2014, I don't remember that. But that was the only reason I bought my PS4. Sincerely, I purchased my PS4 because I wanted to play that game. And then it also came with Uncharted, the collection, which, yes, I like two of those games. But Until Dawn, it was just, I love Until Dawn. And I just beat the Quarry. I killed, all of my characters died. Actually, no. Two of them survived. 2 or 3 survived. Anyway, I got to replay it. But Until Dawn's fantastic. And then the remake comes out. And it's not what people wanted collectively out of a remake of a game that did not need to be remade. And what happens when a game fails? When a movie fails, you can kind of make up for it in some aspect. Not a lot of people have to lose their jobs because the money's already been spent. The movie has already been made. The TV show's already been made. When Joker Folie à Deux failed at the box office, that we didn't know. First of all, we didn't know if Joker 1 was going to be a $1 billion hit, and it turned out to be. But then the second one comes out, and it's middling at best, which I'm not. I'll watch it at some point, but it's middling at best, and people don't go to see it, and it doesn't get the best reviews. You can move on easily from that and say, okay, let's make this money back by putting it on digital at the end of the month. And it's going to be on digital soon enough. I think they announced that already. And then eventually, before Christmas, it's going to go on sale on digital and on Blu-ray. So people can buy it then. And then eventually, in that same time frame, it's going to land on Max. So regardless, people are going to see that movie at some point, at one point or another. But when it comes to a video game, I mean, for anything, a movie is not, it's still a low barrier of entry. You can go during the day. You can watch it in a second run theater. You can watch it at home on a streaming service at a later date. But for a video game, for Until Dawn remake, that's $70 of someone's money coming out of their pocket. And they're going to be counting, oh, well, it took me 8 hours to beat the game, and that's it. So when Star Wars Outlaws comes out and people love Star Wars and you're known for making these open world games, and they want to hear a tale. They want to hear stories. They want to play a story that makes them feel like they're part of the Star Wars universe, and it doesn't do well because it's broken, the story's not good, and other things that happen. Then yes, maybe Ubisoft should take a look at doing something different. That is not open world and live service games. Why are they making those? Well, because people are buying live service games and they're spending money on these loot boxes or whatever. They're spending real life money on a game they've already spent 50, 60, $70 on. And they keep updating that, and people are going to keep going in and playing whatever these games are. And then open world, you sell it for $70 and someone's going to spend 40 hours in it. They're doing that cost time analysis. Ubisoft should go private and really, instead of laying people off, just make things better. It's smarter to take the time on Assassin's Creed Shadows because that is your biggest game. That's your biggest IP. What happens when you lose that again? Mirage came out and it just kind of it was a blip on the radar and that's it. You want to make Seismic Earthquake. I think I might have found a title for this. I don't know how to spell earthquake. I also don't know how to spell seismic. No, I know how to spell seismic. I don't know how to spell earthquake. I put an extra E in there. I won't tell you where. All right, this is the last story. This comes from Hollywood Reporter, written by George Zalai. Netflix earnings review, stock pop, more price target hikes, but also more warnings. Netflix is still booming. Post their, hey, we're gonna start charging for extra for password sharing thing. They added 5 million subscribers. Netflix ended September with 282.72 million global subscribers. The quarterly net additions were 5.07 million, but that was below the 8.76 million that they added the same time last year. All that led various analysts to stick their ratings and several to further hike their stock price targets for Netflix. Netflix shares popped in Friday pre-market trading, jumping more than 6% to $730. But again, there were also some warnings that stock may not be able to keep flying high. Netflix is heavily relying, same thing as Ubisoft, on its IP, on the IP that it has acquired and created. Shows like Emily in Paris, movies like Beverly Hills Cop, Axel F, Umbrella Academy. They create things and continue creating the same things over and over and over again. Some analysts see this as a win. Obviously, some don't. This makes me think, with them doing so well and still gaining traction, we know at some point there's going to be price hikes for subscriptions. They dropped the whatchamacallit? Oh gosh. They dropped the cheapest price, the cheapest plan, which was like $7 or $8. And I think the cheapest plan is like $10, and that's still ad supported. As long as people continue to watch, they're going to have more price increases that, as one analyst put, as William Blair analyst Ralph Schachert put, price increases will eventually flow through the model to satisfy investors. The ad people love the ad tier. And if Netflix can continue putting out shows and movies as well as additives like Netflix games that people like and enjoy, they don't even have to like and enjoy it. They just have to use it and watch it. It'll continue to be the winner, and they can charge whatever they want. I don't know. I mean, I don't think this is going to be real, but I did say to myself, in 10 years' time, Netflix could be $50. And they could be targeting themselves as the only streamer. Max is the one to watch. Netflix could be like, we are going to be the only thing that you are going to want. And $50 is obviously a lofty price. YouTube TV is $76. But I think at some point they're going to get to an unsustainable price where people are going to go, we don't want to pay this. And Netflix is not worth it. And I think we're really rapidly coming up to it. But I wouldn't be surprised if in the next couple of months, the highest tier right now is what, $23? That's going to go to $25. I wouldn't be surprised if by the time they hit 30, people go, this is too much. And and they won't even be splitting it with friends or family or anything. They'll just be like, no, this is not what I want. Even in my case, I'm even finding myself going, just watching Netflix because I pay for the highest tier. I'm just watching Netflix because I have to. Oh man, I want to watch the Frasier reboot, but I can't because I have to watch two things on Netflix to make sense. And it can't be like a TV show. It's got to be like two movies just to make sense of this. And so I'm reading through all of these of what these analysts are saying, and they're talking about words like operating margin, ARPU growth. But my question is, what is the bubble for a platform like Netflix? It is the obvious leader, and it will continue to be the leader, and nothing will ever catch up to it. But what is the bubble? Because people are only going to be willing to watch so many ads and to watch so many seasons of a show that they've seen the same version of countless times. But they're just analysts, so they don't have the answers, but they're trying to predict the future. And they could be wrong. The ad trends could go a different way, but I don't know, man. Netflix is there's something going on over there. It's obviously working, but it is overpriced in a lot of ways. I don't think it's too big to fail, though. And they're still affected by the strikes in the same way that every other broadcaster, streaming platform, everybody is affected. The question is, can it trade in the $1,000 mark like Google, like Amazon? I think in order for, and also this is just a theory, but Netflix games, if you pay like the middle tier, which is I think like $18, but $18 or $15, I don't know. But if you pay like the middle tier of Netflix and you have access to Netflix games, I feel like at some point that's going to break off and be its own thing, and then that's when they can charge more. They're going to say, "Oh, we gave you Dead Cells, we gave you Darkest Dungeon, we gave you, Grand Theft Auto, we gave you access." I don't think Darkest Dungeon, bro. We gave you Sonic the Hedgehog. Now you're going to have to pay more for it. Netflix is a decent platform, and it's crazy that Netflix games is the best way, besides owning the original copies of Grand Theft Auto, San Andreas, Vice City, and Grand Theft Auto 3, it's the best way to play those games because the re-releases of those games have been abysmal since the Xbox 360 era. And I think I own San Andreas two times over. I fell for it. I didn't fall for it this last time. You don't get me. You're not going to get me a third time. All right, listen, if you like what you heard here, head to the website, cpluscomedy.com, where you can see me talk to your favorite comedy people or people in the entertainment industry. I talk to those people all the time. I just talked to Des Bishop, comedian Des Bishop, talking about his new special that comes out in a couple of days, of all people. Well, excuse me, it's a re-release of the audio version of the special that's already out. You can go watch it on his YouTube channel. But this re-release comes via 800-pound Gorilla Media. 800-pound Gorilla Media. We have friends over there. We like them. You can also, they did not pay me for any of that. You can also watch the video version of this podcast, as well as the other podcasts, Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show, and LinkedIn Logs, the Jobs podcast, over on youtube.com/cpluscomedy. Check out the video version of the interviews over there, too. Subscribe to those podcasts wherever you get your podcasts. I'm talking Apple. I'm talking Spotify. I'm talking YouTube Music. I'm talking the rest. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, @C+Comedy. Me on those platforms, @ChatBlackWhite. Thank you so much. We'll see you next time. Bye.